Well, good morning, everybody. I am not sure yet if I am live, so you're going to need to bear with me a moment. Um, there we go. It looks as if we are live right now, and I'd like to welcome you to the very first podcast or broadcast of Voyage to Excellence. So, this is episode number one, and I am Sharon Dingus, your host. And throughout this there we go. Throughout this broadcast, this podcast, my goal is to share with you um, anything and everything that takes us from where we are today and that continuous evolution of excellence. Because everything we do, each little step we take, can bring us closer to excellence, whatever excellence means to you. So today I thought it would be helpful, and hopefully I won't stumble too much. But really, does it really matter if I do or not? I don't care. I'm just bringing it real to you guys. Okay. I've stepped into my fear just a little bit, and I know that by my being authentic, it will uh, perhaps help others be comfortable feeling authentic. And so, what I want to start with is just a couple definitions, right, of perception. So, dictionary.com, and I went out to webster's.com, but I thought that was kind of a clunky description. And so, this is from dictionary.com, and perception is the act of perceiving. Don't you always like it when they do these circular definitions? All right, I do. So, perceiving, to become aware of, know, or identify by means of the senses, to recognize, discern, envision, or understand. So, today, what we're going to do is explore a little bit about how perception is shaping our world, whether we like it or not, and then also how we can use our own personal perception to actually shape our reality. And I actually have not read this book, full disclosure there, but it looks like it'd be a very interesting book. It's by Stephen Redhead. And this is when I was looking for a few quotes on perception. And so this is his book, Life is Simply a Game. And a couple things is what you believe is what you perceive. And don't become what other people perceive you to be. And so that's why I grabbed that, actually, that very last quote is it's what we believe it to be, but life as we go along can shift things. We may have a perception of ourselves, we may have a perception of the world around us that was shaped by old beliefs, old systems, even old perceptions, and it can change how we live our life. And so I'm just going to flip through a few notes here because I want to point out a couple things rather than just randomly rambling. And so what's interesting is, so 2020, right? We, for years, actually probably most of my entire lifetime while I've been aware of it, is 2020 is it's the gold standard, if you will, of what it means to have crystal clear vision. And I was working as a product manager as we were rolling from 2019 into 2020, and we were doing some work on our marketing plan. And what was so interesting is like, oh my gosh, this is the most wonderful opportunity to say, our future, the company that I'm working for, has never been so clear. We thought that was fantastic. So we built our marketing plan around that concept. And then 2020 arrived. And I don't know about you, but I think things are about as cloudy as they can get. And what's happened is because of perception, the perception that either we hold, that our friends, that our family, that society holds, is shaping what's happening in 2020. And so what happens, I don't know about you, but when I go out to, if I look at mainstream media and I try not to get too sucked in, I try not to watch news because I don't want to have my reality shaped by someone else's opinion. I want to be able to look at the facts, which are kind of crazy sometimes, but look at those facts and then work with my inner knowledge, my inner being, feeling, does that seem correct? And you might say, yeah, use your brain, but that is also very valuable. But sometimes what's programmed into our brain from a lifetime can skew our reality. So these multitude of realities that are going on right now, they can shape things positively, definitely very, very positively. There's some amazing things going on. And then they can also shape things negatively as well as neutrally. But sometimes these events, if we don't believe or act the way others perceive us to believe or act, that can actually alienate us from friends, from family. In fact, it's interesting. As I became more outspoken about who I really am and my beliefs, my perceptions of what I believe reality is, what I feel reality to be, has actually resulted in alienation from members of my birth family, which isn't a really good feeling. But I know that my perception of events is that's for me to perceive, for me to believe what I want them to be. And no, it's not fun. And I've actually been attacked on Facebook, and I know a number of you have, if you happen to step just a little bit out of line of where society believes you should be, or the most vocal aspects of society. And that can actually be in the business world. So you may want to change careers. You may want to change either within the company you're in or going into a new company. And I've seen other people struggle with this. Years ago, I wanted to shift from a pure engineering role into a product management role. And it was I and another person in the company I was in, and both of us had spent most of our career as engineers, but we wanted to take that experience. We had shifted our perception within ourselves of where we wanted to go, of the value that we could bring to that company. And so we both applied. There were two openings. And so we both applied for these two product manager positions. And it took quite a bit of time for people in the organization, the decision makers, to look at how they had previously perceived us as good engineers and shift their perception to they could make really good product managers. And so it was really, really fun. I got to see my colleague flourish in his role as product manager. And I was thrilled to have the opportunity to grow into that position as well. So that happens all the time. So what I'd like to throw out there is when you, and I'm not a parent, so full disclosure, but I know some parents pretty well, including my own, right? Is you have a perception of maybe who your child is, who you might want them to be. You have a perception of what you want your significant other to be, or how you see them to be, or a friend, or whatever that is. And we need to allow the space for that other person to explore who they really are. And who we perceive ourselves to be one day is not necessarily who we perceive ourselves to be the next day. So that is a very fluid perception and understanding. So what I'd like to do is explore a little bit about how we can use perception to our advantage. And it's funny, again, playing with the 2020, that's just such a moonball, right? I used to play a lot of softball. And they pitched the ball and that son of a gun came in and it was like huge, right? Like a big old full moon sitting there. So if you missed the moon ball, there was a problem. So the moon ball in this is playing off of 2020. And whether you want to put on or take off the rose-colored glasses. So it's not about deceiving ourselves, right? It's not about positive affirmations that truly we're lying to ourselves sometimes when we do that. But who we perceive we want to be, what we perceive our reality around us as we would like it to be. And so what I'd like to do is say that it's up to each of us to look at what our personal truth is. I always love playing with the inner compass, right? You guys have noticed I like schooners, the old ships, the tall ships and things like that, playing with the nautical side of things. But it's up to us to actually spend time. So how much quiet time are you taking? Actually stepping back, finding a space, whether it's in your home, it could be your car, it could be going out into nature, but are you finding that quiet time, whatever that amount of time is for you, to sit with who you really are, where you want to go, what is your authentic self? So feeling inside, looking, listening, feeling, seeing who we are inside of ourselves. So that helps us understand what perception we actually hold and whether that is a true perception. So I don't think any of us escape childhood and early development without a scar or two or a false perception of ourselves. And it's not the fault of our parents because, as we're growing up, it's their first rodeo as well. So when I say that, it's not saying, oh, darn those parents, they're responsible for this. I'm screwed up as an adult. I'm off on the wrong place because my parents screwed me up. Well, yeah, you might have had some dysfunctional things, but it's up to us to look at what actually happened, what was true, and perceive what that was, what comes forward with us, and what we leave behind as this is what shaped me in my life and who I am today. Those are experiences that I had, and I can use them to my advantage. I can use them to assist myself. I can use them to assist others. And so, what I'd like to put out there is take some time this week, today, this week. There's actually a lovely meditation coming up tomorrow morning with the Mystical Truth. I believe I think it's at 7 a.m. Mountain Standard, which is 10 Eastern. That's a lovely meditation to join in on. There's some of you may have heard about the We Agree to Pray project, which is also a lovely opportunity to have that quiet time. That's both of those are a little bit more of a directed quiet time, but it doesn't matter because sometimes we need a little assist on that too, and work together as a group to shift perceptions to create the reality that we would like to see in our lives and around us. So what I'd like to do is end this by saying, find that quiet time and take a little time and explore your reality, who you are. Are there any shifts that you'd like to make in your life? And if so, how do you start moving towards that? And also to be very kind and gentle with others as they live in their perceptions, in their reality, and as they may seek to shift and to change and to evolve from where we are today. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining me for episode 1 of Voyage to Excellence. Thank you and have a very lovely day.